So today I'm going to be reviewing the Spring Fling collection from Glamour Doll Eyes. This collection released on March 20th and it's going to be available through June 20th. So I wanted to get this video up as quickly as possible so that I could show you guys swatches and give you guys my opinions on the products so that you guys can decide whether or not you want to purchase them. So I'm going to be going over the two eyeshadow quads that came with the collection, and unfortunately these are not available anymore. They were in limited quantities because I think it's kind of like a trial thing for Glamour Doll Eyes. It's the first time for them doing the quads and doing pressed pigments in general. I think that they decided to do the limited quantities just to see how people liked them, and I also ended up getting one of the blushes. And I'm also going to have a corresponding blog post with close-up pictures of the shadows, the quads, and the blush. If you guys would like to check that out, I will have it linked down below. So if you'd like to see my thoughts on the Spring Fling collection, then please keep on watching. Alright, so the first two things that I'm going to be talking about are the eyeshadow quads that came with this collection. Now, as I said before, unfortunately they are not available, but you still can get all of the individual eyeshadows from the collection. They're still available on the website and they're $6 each. The quads themselves were $18, so you end up getting 4 shadows for $18, which really isn't bad at all. And the names of the quads were, this one here is Delilah's Disguise, and this one here is Surrogate's Pipe Dream. So for the palette itself, they do have their sticker on the front, which I think is really cute. I like the design that they decided to go with for the sticker. And on the back they have each of the 4 eyeshadow names as well as the ingredients of each of the eyeshadows and whether or not they are lip safe. And then down on the bottom they have their Facebook and website, so if you guys want to check those out, they are on the bottom. And the palette is just a cardboard palette. The palette size is a bit smaller than, say, a Sugar Pill palette, so that kind of gives you an idea of what the size of this one is. And it is very lightweight as well, and I also like that it has a huge mirror in it too, because I'm always using my Sugar Pill palettes for the mirrors, so I really like that they put a good size mirror into these palettes. Now this is the Delilah's Disguise palette, and this one has 4 different eyeshadows. This one here is called Delilah, this one is called Evacuate, this green one is called In Memory, and Disguise is this kind of purpley color. Now these shadows are very pigmented, kind of a classic thing with Glamour Doll eyeshadows. They're very, very pigmented and they're very soft. So that's what the shadows look like there. They're super bright and super fun, and I actually have In Memory on the center of my lid right now. And going along with them being very soft, unfortunately with the pans, I don't know if you can see with this one here, but it did crack, and it was cracked when I got it in the mail. And I was kind of expecting it to be cracked because these are hand pressed, and when you do hand pressed pigments, especially with these being such a soft formula, you kind of expect them to crack. So unfortunately this one did, and 2 of the ones in the Surrogate's Pipe Dream palette that I got are cracked. But I was able to kind of get them as pressed as I could, but unfortunately that's kind of what's going to happen. So I don't know that I would necessarily purchase the Glamour Doll Eyes palettes again, but I would definitely obviously continue purchasing the jars. So that's kind of my recommendation. I'm not sure that I would personally do it. I don't press any pigments that I have. I always keep them in jars. I just think that it's easier and you avoid this type of a problem with them cracking and kind of making a mess everywhere. So that's just my thought on the actual palette itself. And this palette here is Surrogate's Pipe Dream, and I'm not going to tilt it too far because this shadow here and this one here, Surrogate, are pretty cracked and I don't want them to fall out. But I'm definitely going to show you swatches of each of these. This one here is called Pipe Dream, and this is a very pretty kind of purpley green duochrome, so that's what it looks like there. Excuse my fingers, they have eyeshadow all over them, but that's what it looks like there. It's super pretty, and I have this one all over my lid today. This kind of light pale peachy orange color is called Marquee. The yellow one up here on the top is called Old Money, and that's what it looks like there. And this purple one here is called Surrogate, and this is what it looks like swatched right here on my pinky. So as I said before, unfortunately I would not recommend getting the palettes. I just think that their shadows are very soft and it's hard for them to stay together in a pressed form, and I just think that having the jars is cleaner, it's easier. This palette here, the one I just showed you, the colors are starting to get kind of mixed because they keep cracking and breaking, so I just wouldn't recommend the palettes. I think it was a great idea, and I think that maybe with different formulation it could be better, but unfortunately with this batch, I just think that they're way too soft for them to be in a pressed form. And I would just recommend using the jars. I think that they're easier and you get a good amount of product. You're never going to go through these. I have so many Glamour Doll eyeshadows that are in the jars and they last forever, so I just think that it's more worth your money to get the jars because you're going to waste less product. And the next thing that I'm going to show you is the Glamour Doll Eyes blush, and this one is in Start a Rumor. And this is a gorgeous blush. I'm so glad I ended up getting it. And the blush costs $9. So I'm going to try and show you this blush without spilling it because there's tons of product in here. But this is what it looks like. So it's a nice pretty pink blush and it has a very prominent gold shift to it and it has gold kind of shimmers in it. And I do have it on today and it leaves a very pretty glow on the skin. And a lot of people have been comparing this to NARS Orgasm, so I'm going to kind of show you them both side by side and talk about the differences or similarities between the two. Alright, so this is a swatch of Start a Rumor, and it's just a very pretty kind of light pink. It's super pigmented, so you only need a tiny, tiny bit of this product, and I would recommend using a duo fiber brush to apply it, just because you have kind of more control of how much product you're going to be putting on your cheeks, and you're not going to have tons of pink in one spot, because these are super pigmented, as you can see. This literally was just taken out of the cap. I didn't even touch what was in the jar. So it's just so pretty, and I hope you guys can see the gold shift in it. Once it hits the light a little bit, you are able to see it, but it's just absolutely gorgeous and it leaves a really nice glow. Now I'm going to show you this swatch next to NARS Orgasm. Alright, so this one here is NARS Orgasm, and this one here is the Glamour Doll Eyes blush. So as you can see, the gold on the Orgasm is a little bit more obvious once it's actually swatched out on the skin, whereas here it's definitely more pink. But I honestly really like the formula of the Glamour Doll Eyes ones better. I find that the formulation of NARS Orgasm is a little bit hard, and I just think it comes up a little bit more chunky on the skin personally, whereas the Glamour Doll Eyes is very smooth. It applies beautifully, especially with the duo fiber brush, and it doesn't leave the chunks of glitter. It looks like a natural glow. And I do like that the Glamour Doll Eyes is a little bit more pink, whereas the NARS Orgasm is slightly more peachy. It just kind of makes it a little bit different, and it definitely does have that peach undertone to it, but it also is prominent with the pink, so I think that it's a very good mix. Now with the blush, it does come with a sifter, but there's so much product in here, it's ridiculous, and you will never ever go through one of these. It'll take you forever. So I think for $9, this is definitely well worth the price, and I would recommend getting Start a Rumor because it's just gorgeous. It's a beautiful blush, and it's just so finely milled and so very soft. And it's just awesome. I really do highly recommend the blush. Alright guys, so I really hope that you found this review to be helpful, and like I said, unfortunately the palettes are not for me. I would much prefer the jars over the palettes. I just think that it's easier, it's cleaner, they're not going to spill and break everywhere. My desk is a little bit of a mess right now because the yellow kind of broke apart when I was showing it to you guys, but I just think that the jars are easier to manage, and you're going to get a good amount of product no matter what. You're not going to go through these very fast at all. It takes forever to go through the Glamour Doll eyeshadows, so I would just recommend these over the palettes. And as for the blush, I highly recommend it. I just think the packaging is adorable. I think that you get so much product, and these are going to last you forever. And this blush in Start a Rumor is absolutely gorgeous. And as you saw, it's a fantastic dupe for NARS Orgasm, so it's definitely a cheaper alternative as well, being at $9. So I would highly, highly recommend you check out this blush. And as always, please make sure to follow me on all my social media networks. They're always linked down below. I have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And as I said at the beginning of the video, I will have a blog post showing you up-close pictures of swatches of each of these shadows as well as the blush. So that will be linked down below if you guys wanted to check that out as well. Okay guys, I will talk to you all soon. Bye.